Doctors did see me, but didn't help. The lawyer would be excited about helping and then do nothing.
Then would you then say that he'd taken
Right.
or do something that was completely wrong
Right.
and false?
You know, what we've got to get good at as a people is once we recognize there's no authority and they're trying to come after us, it's how to shut them down. Just knock it off, you guys. You're operating outside your scope and authority. You're operating under the color of law. All these little things I've been bringing up over the last 3 days, you can just start throwing them out there like baseballs at them.
I can do that if things stop happening in my life.
Yeah. But once you do that and you just start slamming them, pretty soon you got so much ammunition in your pockets to fire back at them, they can't do anything about it. If you can keep it short, sweet, and simple. Here's the one thing I tell everybody. You know the reason why the 10-minute napkin presentation? Because you will never have 10 minutes, more than 10 minutes in a court at a time, usually. So if you can't get it out of your mouth, what you're going to say, in a very short, simple period of time, quickly, you're in trouble. And that's why we do everything in writing. Because you can say more in writing than you can in a courtroom. In a courtroom, a lot of times you only get a couple of minutes. They're trying to slam you guys through like shit, right?
And they want to hold you in contempt if you even take a minute to breathe and process what they're saying. And like, do you understand? Do you understand? And if you say, I do understand, bam. Say,
Okay, stop right there. Never say I understand.
Stand under, right. So I overstand if I do, but then I won't even say that. Like, can you?
No, I do not.
I comprehend or I don't comprehend.
Yeah,
Comprehend or I don't.
right. The word understand is a constitutional bear trap.
Right.
I mean, they throw it out to you and you just lost all your rights. It means to stand under the law that they're in.
There's the jurors in your
That's why
dictionary.
we have
Do you yield?
discussions.
Or
You
really
don't
what you're
know.
saying?
I don't know what I don't know.
Right. Right. That's what we gotta teach and learn. It's a crying shame we didn't have a law class at kindergarten through 12th grade. That's a lot of years of education. And the minute you turn 16, you're dealing with the law usually because you got a driver's license. And you hadn't had one single law class.
No one's going to give you the education that you need to be free.
Right.
That's not the point of the education system. The point of the education system is to make compliant workers.
Okay, so what's our point? How do we change the education system?
We call it something else.
Govern our public service.
That too.
That's one way.
Or
Teach our kids at
We
home.
teach our
kids.
kids through play because actually there's been studies that people tend to remember things and understand them through play as opposed to just being told or shown. If you can do some sort of game with it, you can create something out of it. That has more power. That sticks with you longer. It takes 2 to 4 times.
Well, it is a play.
200 to 400 times to get in
No,
your
through
brain.
play.
It's literally a play. That's why they call them acts.
Hey,
Because
all
it's a
these
play
little
that
points
area.
I'm making, if you could draw those cute little diagrams and you put them on flashcards,
Right.
you could have a flashcard game.
What's correct? People or person?
Yeah. What's this mean?
Person, wrong.
What's this mean?
You understand?
Yeah,
You
fill
know.
in the blank words.
There's a million ways to teach our kids and grandkids this stuff. So,
I mean, they showed us it, what they do through the game Monopoly.
okay, what other questions? Otherwise, we can quit early.
Yes,
I wonder, it covers student loan stuff and the difference
It's
between
late.
private and, or like government loan versus.
Student loans are a government loan, they're compounded interest, there's very few private student loans. Hillsdale, I think through their foundation system, offers a private student loan for people going to Hillsdale College. They don't take 1 cent from government, they don't accept government student loans.
But what if you have a government student? Pay it, that's just what it is.
You know what? I don't know of any other option. Wish I did.
But if I am not paying
Yeah,
about
they're-
$10,000 a year in tax, then I feel much better than paying around $2,000. So I probably just do minimum. so
Is the
they can
tax
afford
on
it.
that student loan, is the interest
Well,
legally lawful?
Do you-
hold on a minute. It is an expense.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. write it off your taxes.
Right, but what if I don't have any liability of taxes?
Then you're not making enough money.
So Lindsay, here's the thing about that student loan. It's much like the doctor does. It sounds like $1 jillion and they're showing you all the penalties. As soon as you call them, I'm paying off student loans, not even mine. I'm miffed about it too. So as soon as you call them, you're like, look, they say, fine. And they drop it down to about a third of whatever they said before. And then they set up a payment. And
Do like a
Well, they
court
want
and
me to do,
satisfaction
so
process.
somehow they
like-
said that I have 8 separate different loans, which I never even took any unsubsidized loans, so I don't know how they did that in the first place. Are they counting every year every school as a different
They
loan?
separate them, it's,
Yeah.
it's horrible.
And so now they're trying to get me to do this
They could
consolidation,
confuse the heck
and
out
then
of
they
you.
want me to do this whole like, well, the government will pay my interest if I do that loan, but I don't feel like I should put my shit off on
Right.
the taxpayer money. So I've been having my own ethical, moral dilemmas with that.
You know, if you could borrow all the money from the bank, pay the student loan off, your payment would go down, and your balance would go down much faster. Your payment would be lower, your balance would go down faster. The reason why is the
Negotiate out
bank,
the interest.
the bank computes the interest differently than government student loans compute the interest. And that's why.
Wait,
And
how does that, what do you mean by that?
government
So I
student
should
loans are based on
consolidate.
compound interest. So it's interest on top of interest on top of interest. You're paying less than what the interest on the loan is. So it just keeps adding up, just keeps compounding.
that's why I have a balloon.
I paid for 18 years after I went to college. And my balance was like $230 less than when it started.
Yeah.
After 18 years.
Yeah.
So I walked in, I paid the whole thing. But
You could fake your death.
absolutely nuts. Refinance it with a bank, and you're better off.
So is that, like, I consolidate on Navient, is that
With who?
Navient? Well, it used to be Sally Mae, now it's Navient,
Yeah, it's still a government student.
but it's still compounded the same way.
So, but isn't
Yep.
Nelnet and the Navient aren't those third-party collectors?
They're, understand, yeah, quasi, that's a good way to put it. But they're private for-profit businesses acting as government.
They got the contract to expedite those.
That's right.
So should I be dealing with Nelnet or directly? I don't even know where my student loan came from.
So they're not federal. Why can't you? Why not the same as anything else? Proof of claim.
Or court and
I make
satisfaction.
them
small
But you
amount.
still did, you
I
still
mean,
incurred the
my
loan,
sponsor
but what about this compound interest, is that lawful? It is if they wrote it and you signed it, but did you sign it not knowing what compound interest
The Bible
was?
says interest is.
It is an E.
I mean,
signature.
I'm for
It is not
people.
even my wedding signature. Do I have a payment that's not my wedding signature on my promissory note?
Yeah, but you paid for the education, so you gotta pay
Check
for
the
the
United States
education.
Patent and Trademark Office if there's a patent on student loans.
Yeah, but not the 3x.
I don't think you
It's
should
a
have
The
to.
3 times?
Paid for it
It's a
4
license to
times.
steal.
Exactly, is that lawful? That's where I would fight it, to say this
It's
compound
like the
loan
MERS
is.
patent, it's a license to steal.
What is-
So
what's
the
she
wedding
gonna look up?
signature doesn't even apply in this case then at all, because it's an electronic signature.
So
So it's not a wedding signature. I thought it there's a difference. What's
there's a difference in real contract.
real contract? This is a real contract?
Ask us.
Because it's not man to man or person to
Anything,
person?
anything you deal with in any kind of banking or admiralty is presumption, assumption, hearsay, and consent. Your consent. So you consented as a signatory officer, they're holding you accountable because you're an employee of the government, being a citizen, a person, a resident.
Well, what if I took myself out of
And,
that?
well, then you need to get all that done.
Okay.
And then maybe you can do something.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what,
Have you had any luck or seen anyone using the passport number for the other things that I was more attracted to when I first started getting it? Opening some accounts, you're purchasing firearms with just your passport number, any of the other useful things.
I buy firearms using my passport number all the time.
Right.
I rent cars using my passport.
Great. You rent
You
cars?
guys on the internet?
No, I don't. I was just doing it.
Type in USC 50.
I looked that up last night and didn't get it. That, while she looks that up, what was the, I looked up this 18th chapter, 13.451, or B1E, and it looked like it was B2E might be getting us a little closer to what I was looking for. But I remember when you was reading it out loud yesterday, it was the most wonderful verbiage, and I did not find it under that. Am I wrong in my notes here?
It might be,
Warren National.
you might be.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Well, like the page today, that one single page that he had so much wonderful reference on it, but I hope that shows up in email. Wonder, yeah, that was a lot of neat now.
Is it supposed to be the Warren National Defense Code?
USC 50?
Yeah, it says Code Title 50, Warren National Defense.
Just a second.
Trading with the enemy, right? I want to get all the way through this affidavit of electoral status in the next 60 days. Yeah.
Is that what you're calling it, of electoral status? That's what you're calling your change
Right,
of
so after I know
jurisdiction?
that my passport is reflecting the 1101-821, after I know that, I think it might be now, but after I know for sure, after the affidavit, then the affidavit of electoral status, because I've already negated my voter registration, so that's
Let your email start again.
5280.
52.
Everything in Denver's 5280, you know.
In effect, it gives you two land.
But the electoral status, that's our US national,
Status.
Well, no, that's in addition to, you become an elector if you have Secretary of State verified.
huh? I just click one.
See what chapter. Get to USC, you know which chapter?
I do not. Or trading with the enemy?
Is that what it's called?
I think so.
Trading with the Enemy, Chapter 53. Is that what you're looking for? 4301, 4341? Is that the one?
I don't know off the top of my head. One. $50 USC 4305B2, any payment, conveyance, transfer, assignment, or delivery of property or interest therein made to or for the account of the United States or as otherwise directed pursuant to this subdivision or any rule, regulation, instruction, or direction issued hereunder shall, to the extent thereof, be a full acquittance and discharge for all purposes of the obligation of the person making the same. You can use 50 USC. We use this exact thing in court cases for quite a few years to get them to pay things for us in court
Instead of the defunct HJR 192.
instead of HCR 192.
So that was USC 50, what was the,
4305B2. And no person shall be held liable in any court for or in respect to anything done or admitted in good faith in connection with the administration of or in pursuance of and in reliance on this subdivision or any rule, regulation, instruction, or direction issued hereunder. It was formerly 12 USC 95A2 and they moved it to 50. Now, under assignment, you have to state, paid in the order of the United States U.S. Treasury without recourse. And you have to accept for honor and pay to the United States Treasury. So I'll just
United States Code sounds a lot closer to being successful with that than
I'll tell you what.
Big A4B.
Wait, I'm looking at,
I have
just so I
learned
know,
to use the United States Code
just
because
so that I know how to find this stuff. So I'm looking at 450 US Code 4305, and then go down to B2, B2, any payment, conveyance, transfer, assignment, or delivery of property or interest therein. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
yes, because
Okay.
this is a way to pay your debts through a court.
So are you saying my college contribution that the judge said I should have to pay, she can pay it herself,
Yeah,
but she's gonna use my son?
it'll come out of your social security trust.
Who cares?
Okay, well,
Isn't it the same as
It's gonna do one thing for you.
isn't it the same as subrogation?
kinda. Kinda. It's just using-
Transfer, delivery of property, interest therein.
So anyway, I just emailed it to you and to you. You can share with them.
See, I found that was 18, chapter 13, chapter 5. Yesterday you read, I remember it was a nice one-page sheet and it had this amazing, I couldn't even read it.
Yeah, there's so many good things in USC 50. I mean, I'm just looking at my notes, and I literally have thousands and thousands of notes that I've taken as I've been studying over many, many years. And I've just typed in 50 up here, and it pulled in all of these that have 50 in it.
Oh my gosh.
I have literally thousands of notes. If I take that 50 out of there, my God, we can go on forever. Thousands and thousands and thousands of notes I've taken over the years. And that's just since I started using Apple computers. Previous Microsoft stuff, they're full too. Yeah.
Or,
How many gig do you have for that 300 and some documents?
Well, it's a bunch. I think I pay $20 a month just to store it all on the cloud.
Why are you doing that?
It's a lot. It's
You have it
Apple,
downloaded on a hard
and
drive.
it's
So
secure.
how do you know?
because
You of
it's
all
all
people, why?
encrypted.
Yeah, but
It's all
you don't have it on a hard drive, a safe hard
Oh
drive?
yeah, we got it on hard drives.
I mean, yeah.
that's the travel
So as far as free travel, do all of your contracts have to be in honor before you negate them, before you rescind them? So like your license registration, or your plate registration, does it have to be in honor before rescinding them? Can it just expire and then your license? Does that have to be somehow in honor before you rescind the contract and no longer use that?
You know, I've never cared about that too much. I figure if you can explain it well enough, it doesn't matter what position it's in at the time. Fraud vitiates everything from the beginning. The moment the wheel fell off the wagon, which is the moment fraud is recognized, it vitiates everything. So you can go along with fraud for years, and if you've never hauled passengers for hire, you weren't an Uber driver, a bus driver, or a taxi driver, and you never hauled goods for resale, interstate commerce, and you've never been a public servant in the performance of their public duties, then all these years you've had a driver's license, it's been fraud.
But there are certain things you need, like you have a driver's license, you just don't show it to anybody, sometimes you wanna, drive
You
commercially.
walk between jurisdictions.
Right.
Well, you
So
need
if I'm
identification.
operating in that jurisdiction, drive my truck semi with a load of hay, I show the police officer my driver's license.
Right.
When I'm not, there's no way on earth that man's ever gonna know I have one on. I'm gonna show him my passport.
And here's why I just found it. It was B2E, not B1E. Federally protected activities, traveling in or using any facility of interstate commerce or using any vehicle terminal or facility of any common carrier by motor, rail, water, or air. Federally protected, your right to travel.
See these? I can plug it into my iPhone or I can plug it into a USB.
Yeah.
250 gigs. Right.
Use it, pull it from the cloud?
Yeah, I can download everything on there onto this. So
Or that's 250 gig right there.
this is 250 gigs.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? Like, I, worked for a printing company when they had the first big drive. It was like an 8-track tape.
Yeah.
My first job out of school was Fathom Technologies, and overnight we did AS400s and System 36. You remember mainframes? So overnight, I sold backup drives. These backup drives, within 8 hours, could save 250 megabytes.
I know.
Right? Overnight, and you have these videotapes that it's saved to, and then there was off-site entire industry that would come pick up your videotapes and take them off-site in case your building burned down, so all your data was still.
Let me date myself.
8-track tapes.
My first business I started in college was an advertising agency. I bought one of the very first Apple computers and an Apple printer and a scanner to do graphics on for advertising.
Apple IIe.
It was $32,000 worth of
Holy moly.
Insert disc 52. Insert disc 53.
In 1995, when I partnered with Rick Borrell to do that subdivision in Redmond, I spent $35,000 on a tripod with a piece of equipment with a handheld receiver that was built by a company called Theodolite that was accurate to record where my lots that I was plotting out on this big piece of property. I was plotting out lots. $35,000 worth of equipment. I'm walking around. Okay. For $3.99.
Got an app for
An
that.
app. There's an app for
Oh,
that.
wait a minute. Watch
There
this. Watch this. This is unbelievable. Theodolite. Same exact company.
Oh my gosh.
This gives you more information. It hooks to the camera. I can drop a quarter on if I had a quarter. I drop a quarter on the floor. I'll use the tile corners. And I can step my camera over it. I've got the exact GPS coordinates of this corner of that tile down to 6 decimals below the decimal point. 6 numbers below the decimal point. Accurate. If I move it an eighth of an inch, it's changed. That's how accurate this is. Now, it's tied into my camera. I can do a screenshot on a property corner.
You can change it
I
later.
can go like this and point towards the other property corner.
Oh my
I
gosh.
can walk to the other property corner. I can do the same thing. I can get all 4, and I've got the GPS coordinates. I've got the azimuth, the true elevation. I've got everything. I've got a compass heading. I've got everything on here, and it all shows up on the screenshot. It's one of the most amazing tools I've
For
ever seen. It's
$3.99?
right here for $3.95.
Surveyors are out of business.
What's it called? What's it called?
I can put
It's
it
called-
on the bottom edge of that wall, and I can measure how tall that wall is.
Oh my gosh, I need that.
What's the name
What
of
is
the
that
app?
called? What's the app?
Theodolite.
The Auto
It was
Light.
designed for the military, and eventually they let surveyors use it. And then, now everybody with an iPhone can buy one.
That's right.
Marco, that
Wow.
joke.
Oh my gosh, I can sometimes just not find the tape measure.
$35,000 in 1995, $395 today.
You know, when your math teacher told you, well, you're not always going to have a calculator on you. No, I'll have a computer on you.
And that your phone wouldn't be a
I
computer.
can calculator app.
All right, any more questions?
A million, but I can't, yeah.
You guys,
Do you want someone?
I guess I don't know how to spell it. Can you spell it? Because I have the auto and it's not, so I'm not spelling it correctly in the App Store. TH.
THEODOLITE.
Okay, thank you. That's got it. Thank you. $3.99.
Goes off $1?
Now it says there's in-app purchases. You're not gonna have to have in-app purchases to use the basic.
Ourselves and then.
Because I actually just downloaded one and
No, it's probably you have to pay for advanced features, or if you want to add other tools to it.
Right, well, that's what I'm wondering. What tools are you, how much are you gonna end up having to pay? So I got a couple free ones like a couple months ago when I was spraying my fields.
Next
To,
friend. Her next friend. In fact, our best friend. Well, say next friend.
I think we should sit down this week and work on affidavits.
Yes, please.
Fresh in our head, well, know about it.
Yep, yep.
Where'd you get a template for yours?
You take the power of attorney and you go record it at the
Oh, okay,
county
awesome.
courthouse.
I did mine last year.
Will that be on the stuff that you sent me?
And that's submitted in court way ahead of time, along with the notice of appearance.